everyone, I'm Ellie from Ellie's Exotics, and as you can see, I'm in a random hotel room right now, and that's because I'm going back to work tomorrow as an exotic animal educator. Reality is setting in after 6 months of traveling, and one of my favorite things that I went to whilst traveling were these 2 reptile expos in Sydney. In this video, you're not going to see any ball pythons, no corn snakes, no leopard geckos, and that's because of the import and export laws in Australia. Instead, you're going to see some very interesting animals and some that you might have never even heard of or seen before, which is pretty cool. The reason why I've combined these 2 expos into one is because in Sydney, these expos are teeny tiny. They're not like those huge like warehouses that you see out in the US or even IHS in the UK, but nonetheless, they're still super cool and very exciting. And when it comes to Australia, you don't want to miss out on my herping videos. I have already posted part 1 and part 2, so go and check those out if you haven't already. And make sure you subscribe and turn on notification bells, because next week, my bearded dragons in the wild video is going to be released. It's going to be insane, and you're going to be seeing some stuff and hearing some facts about bearded dragons that you might have never heard in your life. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But anyway, let's get right into this video. So the first expo of the day is the Macquarie Reptile Expo, and it was such an intimate venue. I absolutely loved it, even though it was pretty crowded. They could definitely do these expos bigger. I don't know if it's maybe just because of licensing and stuff, but there was a huge crowd. There were a lot of people buying animals, so I feel like they could do this on a bigger scale for sure. The Tarantula were definitely some of my favorite at this specific expo. They had some really cool morphs that just don't exist in the UK. And I also got to chat to Tom Birch from CritterCam, and he showed us some amazing animals. My favorite, personally, was the black-headed python. So let's have a listen to what he has to say about it.
I noticed you were checking out this.
I know, he's gorgeous.
This is an exanthic black-headed python. Now, the reason why they call them exanthic, it's a colour malformation. So basically there's no oranges or yellows in this snake, which leaves behind basically a black and white snake, which is absolutely drop dead gorgeous, I believe. This guy's only a year old and he's got a lot more growing to go. He's going to get to about 3 metres.
Absolutely stunning. I've got a Woma python.
Oh, well there we are. Yeah, so the second part of the Asperides family,
yes.
The Woma python, also known as a sand python, with a bright yellow head.
I would love to have a blackhead one day, but they're not as cheap in the UK.
Well, not as cheap and not as friendly, I'm going to say, as a black-headed python.
Yeah.
So the blackheads can be a little bit more gnarly.
Yeah.
And, they definitely have an amazing bite. They grab hold of you, and they're pretty sneaky. So sometimes they'll sit like this, and they'll just turn around and then just grab hold of your finger.
Yeah.
Tricky little buggers they are.
They're gorgeous though, so it's worth it.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now, not only did I love the Tarantula at this expo, I loved the blue-tongued skinks. Oh my gosh, guys. I mean, if you were watching this and you're from Australia, you don't know how lucky you are. I personally have never, ever seen a blue-tongued skink morph in the UK. Never. Now, there might be people from the UK who can correct me and, you know, prove me wrong, but I have never seen anything like this. Especially these 25-pound blue tongue skinks. Are you crazy? In the UK, we can pay up to £300-400 for a blue tongue skink. So these prices were insane to me, but I understand that they are super common. They are like a leopard gecko or something like that. But I love blue tongues. My first ever reptile was a blue tongue. So, you know, they always make me smile. Just like the beardies too. I've had bearded dragons before and I just adore them. They're super duper cute. I also got to see just a few ackies. I was kind of expecting more. When it comes to Australia, you know, a very good sized monitor species that a lot of people can reasonably house. But nonetheless, still super cute. Loved seeing these guys. Such a shame I didn't find one in the wild though. I would have loved to see that. And the last thing we did at that expo was we attended a snake talk, which was really cool. I always love seeing how other people do it because I am an animal educator. That's what my job is. So hearing about the Aussie species was awesome. We also got to see this adorable little knobtail gecko. Look at that little guy. Oh, their faces are just too sweet. And now here we are at the Sydney Reptile Expo, or the Blacktown Reptile Expo. I got to see some awesome species, just like these Cunningham skinks. If I could take any animal back with me, it would be the Cunninghams, because not only were they 40 pound, but they are just adorable. And I don't think I've ever seen these in the UK. If anyone knows any breeders, let me know, because I would love a Cunningham skink. We also saw this gorgeous jungle carpet python. I mean, look at those contrasts, just insane. And if you know me, you know I cannot say no to a Woma python. Oh, they were gorgeous. And I am also starting to realize that I can differentiate between locality, which is kind of helping me figure out which locality my Woma python is. I mean, I will never know for sure, you know, because when it comes to captive bred Womas outside of Australia, we have no idea what Woma has been bred with this Woma because of the import and export laws. And by the way, the laws are that no native animals can leave the country and no non-native animals can enter the country, which is why you are not seeing any ball pythons or corn snakes or anything like that. Legally, these people can only keep native species, and they do actually have to have a license for it as well. So it works a whole lot differently, reptile keeping does, in Australia than it does in the UK. Then things got very exciting because Lucy picked up her very first tarantula. She named her Ethel Kane, which is brilliant. Love that name. And I cannot remember for the life of me what species it was, but you might be able to see it on the label. I don't have good enough eyes for that, unfortunately. I can't read what it says. But in Australia, again, you know, native tarantulas. So this was an old world tarantula, which I wouldn't recommend for a first tarantula, but there's not much choice when it comes to New World. So we went for an old world species, and I think she's going to be very happy with them. We also went to a reptile talk at this expo too, which was pretty cool. I believe he's got a crocodile in his hands there, which is kind of insane. There's me walking around with corn snakes in skulls, you know, not as cool as the crocodile guy. But anyway, we explored the rest of the expo and we had such a wonderful time. This was a great expo. I cannot wait to go back to Australia and speak to even more fabulous, amazing breeders because people are doing so much good work out there. And just a disclaimer at the end of this video before I get any comments about it, these animals are not permanently housed in any of these Tupperware containers or any containers that you see. These are purely for the expo. These animals will go into proper setups eventually. Please do not house animals like this, and please do not think that this is normal within the reptile community. This is not how we keep animals, and we don't approve of animals being kept like this long term. But anyway, just had to say that. And that is everything for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments below which animal was your favorite, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.